What's going on, guys? It's Uche and Joku. I want to make a quick video about a thought that I have right now. Um, so what's in front of me right now is the Canon R5 Mark II with the 400, not 400, 1 to 400 millimeter telephoto lens. Um, it's not the what's that? The 1 to 500, which is the L series lens. I think that one has a aperture range of 4.5 to 7.1, while this has an aperture range of 5.6 through uh, 8. And those numbers seem pretty close to each other, but we know when we come to talking about light and cameras that those few stops, simple stops, make a big difference with light entering the lens and impacting your overall image. So as I am sitting with this camera thinking about um, what I could do with it, I have this part of me that says I wish I had the L series lens, that 1 to 500 millimeters, because it's so much better than this. But is it? Because when you really think about it, some of the best images out there that we see that we love um, over the course of time and history didn't come from cameras that had the technology that's right in front of me or that's right in front of you. It came from very simple cameras that were just manipulating light the best that as it could. Whether we're talking about film cameras or we're talking about DSLRs, digital cameras. Like, yes, over time things have gotten much better and so much more just like amazing. But doesn't mean that we can't create amazing images off of a camera like this. Not even a camera, which we know we can off a camera like this, off of a lens like this. Because still, quality wise, this lens is just, when we talk about just specs wise, way better than anything else created in the past. What we have in the past is great, but a lot of it has to do with um, character and how certain lenses were created, depending on what factories or what companies. That a 50 millimeter from one company could be very different from 50 millimeter from another company based on the interpretation of the creators of those lenses. But then also the users themselves, the photographers who took those lenses, put onto their cameras and took pictures, were often trying to create or reimagine reality from their perspective. But what's interesting now, we live in a world where we spend so much time diving into YouTube videos and look at the creators who are for the most part are fans of photography, but also we can't deny the fact that a lot of them are also trying to get likes and viewership because it's also a business. That's why you will see a million videos on why the R5 is not as good as the not as good as the R6. I'm sorry, it's not as good as the R5C or the R5 Mark II, and all these things back and forth. And you're like, at the end of the day, it's a camera, right? Isn't the result really based on what you do as a creator? And as a creator, are you trying to create things that look like what other people are doing, or are you trying to create something that's original, that's yours? So I'm saying this because as I have this lens, this is the RF 100 to 400 millimeter, 5.6 through 8 aperture range on a high resolution camera like the R5 Mark II, which is essentially the flagship camera, one of the two flagship cameras for Canon. Can I create something or capture images or make pictures that are mind blowing, regardless of this not being an L series lens? Yes, I know I can. People might say, well, you're limited in what you can do because of that minimum 5.6 aperture. But the reality is, with a camera like this, let me tell you what I do. You know, my settings back here tend to stay at 125th of a second when it comes to shutter speed or higher. I'm talking about as high as 1,000, 2,000 of a second, because what I might be trying to capture might be moving so fast or might move too quickly for me to go anything lower than that. And often, even things at a distance, when I'm trying to do landscape, I want as much dynamic range in the camera. I want to see those clouds and the separations of light. So I will stop down my shutter speed until I can see what I want to see. And then not only that, um, I know that the especially if I'm doing wildlife, or if I'm doing landscape, I don't really care about bokeh. I want to get everything that I'm seeing, because when I'm looking at a view, I don't see blur in the background, but with my natural eye, I see the details. So 5.6, 8, 11, 16 might be necessary, especially if I have enough light outside. And if I don't have enough light, with this being a high resolution camera, the R5 Mark II, my ISO, I could play with that sucker in ways that I probably I wouldn't have been able to do it in cameras that I had in the past. So I could be at, 12,800 ISO, as long as everything else is under control, and be able to grab some amazing images. And if I have to do some tweaking in post, there be it. But my goal is always to capture that image as close as to what I intended it to be in the camera. I'm lazy. I am not trying to spend hours going through tons and tons of pictures. And especially if I'm doing this for myself. If I'm doing it for a client, it's different. If I'm doing it because it's a bigger project, I have to deliver to someone else, that's different. But for me, I take my time and I want to capture the world as I see it through my viewfinder, or through, um, the back screen of my camera. Uh, but yeah, these are things I think about, like, how do I maximize my tools? And yeah, I guess I'm going off on a bit of a rant, but I'm telling you, I found myself like losing my mind watching YouTube videos, because I'm doubting what I have in my hand, and not realizing what I have in my hand is so much more powerful than the great masters of photography, the Gordon Parks of the world, had in their hands. Because the reality, it was a tool. It was them capturing what they saw, and the way they wanted us to see what they saw was more important, not what the resolution was, what the pixels were, pixel peeping, and things of that nature. I think a lot of these great photographers of the past, if they even heard what we were talking about today, they would probably be like, "What the heck has happened here? Show me a great image, and I don't want to see pixels. Show me a great image." All right, I'm gonna stop talking. I just wanted to share this, to get this thing off my head and share it with you. And hopefully, I'll get a chance to get outside sometime today and take some pictures, and maybe make another video with those images. All right, Uche Njoku, Sneaker Principal. Have an amazing day, and I'll talk to y'all later. All right, peace.